Will the doorkeeper please close the door? The House will come to order. I pledge allegiance one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Quorum call.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 members present, the House is now in session. The clerk will read the journal from the previous day.
Annapolis, Maryland, March the 29th, 2021.
Recognizing the majority leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Move so much be considered the reading of the journal from the previous day.
So order, petitions, memorials, and other papers. Quorum call.
Madam Speaker.
Calendar of clerk will take the call. There being 121 members present, the House still in session. Calendar of third reading, Senate Bills number 82. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 610, lodging establishments, accessible rooms for individuals with disabilities, deadlines.
It's on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 125 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 610, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Calendar of third reading, Senate Bills number 77. The clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 167, State Board of Social Work Examiners, temporary license to practice social work.
It's on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 167, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Concurrence calendar number 41. The clerk will read the bill and the Senate amendments.
House Bill 83, Public and Non-Public Schools Electric Retractable Room Partitions, Review and Report, Amendment Number 1.
Recognizing the committee chair.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Move so much be the reading of the amendments.
So ordered.
The Senate amendment strikes language requiring that MSD does a report on current electric retractable room partitions and requires that certain safety inspections include demonstrated safety. Move to concur with the Senate amendments.
Question for the House is to concur in the Senate amendments. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 83 is on third reading and final passage. Okay. The gentleman from Western Maryland and the Annex.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is going to be quick. I just had a question. What is the origin that made this bill necessary?
Committee Chair.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. There have been some challenges, I think particularly some cases in Fairfax County, obviously another state, but that these kind of retractable partitions injured a child. So just making sure that when they're used and if somebody just kind of pushes a button to have it moved, that someone's watching and that there's some safety built into this.
Thank you very much. That sounds good. I was in a school that had open classrooms, which was a disaster. So being able to close those rooms off safely is a good thing. Thank you.
House Bill 83 is on third reading and final passage. The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 137 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 83 having received the constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 610, Homeowners Property Tax Credit Eligibility of Service.
So ordered.
Amendment requires homeowners to be given an application for the homeowner's property tax credit as settlement on the property. Amendment 2 requires SDAT to contract with usability consultant to review the materials concerning the homestead and property tax credit. Amendment 3 requires SDAT and the comptroller to work with Ways and Means and the Budget and Tax Committee on an interim to study simplifying the homeowner's tax credit. Move to concur with the Senate amendments.
Question for the House is to concur in the Senate amendments. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 610 is on
Madam
third.
Speaker,
Recognizing minority whip.
thank you so much. Floor Leader, could you please rise for a couple questions?
Subcommittee Chair.
Thank you. I see Mako has opposition. Did your amendments address Mako's opposition?
They're not opposed to this bill.
They're not opposed anymore?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Speaker,
Gentleman for Anne Arundel.
just a quick question. So what does the bill, for the floor leader, what does the bill do now with the amendment?
Would the gentleman yield?
Yes.
Committee
This
Chair.
This is part of a larger package trying to ensure that homeowners have enough information, so we're making sure that everyone has the application for the homeowners tax credit who might be eligible, also making sure that SDAT works with the usability consultant to make sure that all of their documents are very readable, very understandable. So we're just trying to put these pieces in, and it requires SDAT and the comptroller to work with our committees with an interim study on the homeowners tax credit.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Gentleman from Queen Anne's in the Annex.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Or will this floor leader rise for a question?
Yes.
On the homestead credit, if the surviving person, the person's inheriting this, what if they already have a homestead credit? They already have that credit. I'm sorry.
You
On
can
their
only get it for
property.
one property.
I'm sorry.
You can only get it for one property and it has to
Okay,
be your
so-
primary property.
So they wouldn't be eligible for this. They'd only be able to collect it off their own, or would they have the option?
That's correct.
I'm sorry.
That's correct.
They'd have the option, or they'll only be able to collect it on their own.
They would only be able to collect it on their own.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Speaker, geez, I'll get it right.
Is there any further? Gentleman from Anne Arundel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just point of clarification. It says in the fiscal note, an unmarried surviving spouse of a homeowner. I'm seriously lost on that. An unmarried surviving. So would they be eligible for the tax credit if they're an unmarried surviving spouse?
So what's your question?
Can you define an unmarried surviving spouse?
If they haven't remarried,
They're not married, but okay. But they would
right,
get,
if they have
okay.
not been remarried, then
But they would get the tax credit.
That's correct.
Excellent, thank you.
Is there any more debate? House Bill 610 is on third reading and final passage. Clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 137 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 610, having received the constitutional majority, is declared passed. We're going to, in this brief break time before we do some other stuff, just want to do some thank yous. The Amendment Office and Bill Drafting, led by Kelly Denkow and Effie Wright. Those who prepare our fiscal notes. All of our House committee staff. Our Maryland State Troopers, led by our Sergeant at Arms, Bobby. Facilities crew, print shop, led by DJ LaSalle. Morgan Streeter and Jovan Watkins, managing the House Office Building. The Chief Clerks, Sylvia, Colleen, Rose, Wendy, Cindy, Anisha, Leo, and most of all, Mike Gadiello and the Office of Information Systems, who have moved heaven and earth to ensure that we could have a legislative session this year. Recognizing the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to add to your words of appreciation for you and your staff. I want to thank, starting off with the Speaker's staff, the amazing Alonzo Williams, Miko Knight, the always polite Pam Johnson, the new kid on the block, Matt Jackson, the spectacular Sarita Williams, the gentleman with entirely too much hair this session, Patrick O'Leary, the dour but lovable Jeremy Baker, and the amazing Alexandra M. Hughes. And in particular, Madam Speaker, for leading us now through two very difficult sessions in a very difficult time for the state and for the country. I don't think anybody in the history of this state stepped into the speakership with more challenges in front of them than you have, and you have done an extraordinary job leading us through this session.
And the Oscar goes to...
Thank you, everybody.
Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the Minority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I very quickly want to thank Carrie Simon Sparrow, Diane Rogers, Will Smith, and the Minority House offices for all the hard work they've put in over the years. As you know, tonight as delegate from Baltimore County, the Minority Whip, and my last night in leadership with the Republican caucus, I thought this would be a great night to tell you which of you I love and which I don't love. But that list has grown longer this year, so we don't have enough time for that tonight. But in all honesty, I want to thank the Republican members for supporting us over the last 8 years. I want to thank you and your staff for being such great partners, even when we don't always agree, to do the work of the people. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker.
Gentleman from Western Maryland.
Just very quick, Madam Speaker. I know everybody has been waiting in anticipation of this annual snow report. So in Garrett County, we got 126.5 inches of snow this winter. That's actual snow. In addition to that, there was ice and sleet. And the State Highway Administration official station at Kaiser's Ridge reported if you add that all in, we had a total of 162 inches of snow in Garrett County this winter.
Okay. Message from the Senate, number 44, Senate bills introduced in the House.
Senate Bill 582, Senator Hedelman, House Rules. Senate Bill 955, Senator Eckert, House Rules. By Sylvia Seeger, Chief Clerk. 111.
Quorum call.
Madam Speaker. House
Bill's 111. Calendar of third reading House Bill. Oh, take the call. There's 135 members present. This House is still in session. Calendar of third reading House Bills number 111. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 592, State Vehicle Fleet, Conversion to Zero-Emission Passenger Cars and Other Light-Duty Vehicles.
House Bill 592 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 96 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 592, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Special order calendar, House Bill 1069. The clerk will read the bill.
Oh, got it. I'm sorry. House Bill 1069, Water Supply Private Well Safety Program, bill on third reading.
The maker of the motion is the gentleman in the annex. Gentleman in the annex.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I spoke with the sponsor. I do have some questions for the floor leader.
Who's the floor? Ian.
I'm up.
Chairman of the committee.
So I understood the Senate actually adopted some amendments that relate to what a landlord can do to remedy a situation. Could you, and I tried to pull it up, but it came too quickly.
Yeah, sure. Let me just read it off for you. The remedies may include providing an alternative source of potable water, remediating the contamination, or providing the tenant with an option to terminate the lease.
All right, so in talking with the sponsor, if the landlord offers to the tenant the ability to terminate the lease, it was my understanding that if the tenant says, well, no, I don't want to terminate the lease, that ends the portion of whatever this negotiation is about the water. But can you explain what will happen if I'm a landlord and I have a tenant who I'm offering, saying, here, just leave the house, and they say no? What obligations am I left with there?
Well, then, in that case, you would either have to give them potable water or remediate the problem.
Oh, well, then what good is the third option, which is to offer them to leave? Maybe it's going to take too long to fix the water source.
Well, I suppose using that reasoning, what good are the other two options?
Okay. Madam Speaker, on this bill, is it the right time for me to speak on the bill?
Yes.
Okay. This is a bill that during the session we've had so many landlord-tenant obligations put on us. And Madam Speaker, what I will say with respect to you and the General Assembly, there have been a tremendous amount of amendments, negotiations to try to make some of these bills better. Let me just say and add to what my colleague and co-delegate said earlier, that this is a kind of bill that probably should have come around next year after some more thought. The primary concern I had with the bill is that we're putting EPA and/or state standards in place, but we really don't define what those standards are. You might remember I stood on the House floor a few weeks ago and talked about how ambiguous and undefined this bill is, yet it puts a very defined obligation on the landlord vis-a-vis if a tenant comes to the conclusion through whatever testing happens that their water is not potable. It puts a severe obligation on the landlord to remedy, and whatever they did in the Senate, I'm sure it was well-intentioned. I'm sure they were trying to make this bill more workable, but as a landlord myself, I'm just trying to imagine a scenario where I had a water supply that was deemed not safe, and one of my options is to say to the tenant, leave. I mean, I'm sure there's a good reason for that, Mr. Chairman. If you'd like to speak to it, fine, but I'll close by saying this, Madam Speaker, as a landlord myself, while we've had so much legislation come through this year, I do respect the leadership in trying to modify and make workable some of these obligations. And with that, I will vote against this bill. And I would
Madam
be curious
Speaker?
on
Madam
that.
Speaker.
Yeah.
Recognizing the committee chair.
I move the previous question.
Oh, Madam Speaker, we have questions on the bill.
We have a couple more questions, please, Madam
You're going to
Speaker.
get it within 7 minutes?
Well, hurry, but we
You
try
can
to
get
up
it in.
earlier.
Just start with the Western Maryland.
Madam Speaker, there's a motion on the floor for the previous question.
Question is the previous question. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Roll call, Madam
Roll call.
Speaker.
Madam Speaker?
To explain my vote? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoop, what did I do? Okay, a minute.
Madam Speaker, to explain my vote?
Explain your vote for the previous question.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, very quickly.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Body, I'm red on moving the previous question. This is a very important bill for people like me that have wells and water and farms and.
Okay. You
So
explained it.
So I'm going to be a no on this moving of the
thank you
previous.
very much.
Speaker, I'd like
Clerk
to
will
explain
take
my
the call.
vote.
90. So we have passed the previous question. You got 5 minutes. Bills on third reading and final passage. Clerk will take the call.
Madam Speaker?
Madam Speaker?
Madam Speaker,
Yes.
explain my vote, please.
You can get up to 7 people, so you're gonna run the clock out. You can't get anything else done. But go ahead and explain your.
Madam Speaker, I don't mean to run the clock out, but an hour ago we had questions.
Carol, please talk. Start talking.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We had questions about this about an hour ago, and there's a whole
Okay,
list.
but talk now. You can say
I'm
all
talking.
that.
I am talking right now, Madam Speaker. We have a lot.
Explain your vote.
I'm explaining my vote. There's a lot of opposition to this bill, including the American Chemistry Council, that says other contaminants are not even defined. The Maryland Judiciary is opposed because there's significant IT changes in the land records. The realtors are opposed. The Maryland building industries are opposed. And MD is opposed and said we should have this in a summer study because there's so many issues that have not been resolved, like what are the contaminants that we're measuring here. So we have an undefined problem, and we have a solution that's going to be imposed on our tenants, on our landlords, that has to do with water quality that's very onerous on them. So given all the opposition, I wish we'd had time to get some of these answers taken care of. And I hate to be pushing through a bill like this. I'm sure everyone on the floor who's voted green has read the bill and all the opposition, so you can explain it to all these people that are against it. But Madam Chairman, I'm voting red because there's a lot of unanswered questions and a lot of opposition to the bill, and it needs some work. So I suggested it would have been good to amend it to a summer study, and we could have supported the summer study and voted on this next year. My 2 minutes is up. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, explain my vote.
Gentleman from Frederick.
Madam Speaker, explain my
The
vote.
gentleman from Frederick.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you, Madam Speaker. I'm concerned. I understand that there's a problem with the Maryland rules, which says that there is a work product protection, and there is also a protection for privileged documents. And when you have issues with tenancy, with causes of action already arising, which we actually have presently at this time, to force the landlord to waive the work product and privilege exceptions in the Maryland rules to provide test results that are expert opinions that can be used in the court of law in the causes of action violates the Maryland rules. And I did check into this. I don't think there's an AG opinion on that particular part of the bill, so that's the reason I'm voting red.
Okay. Clerk, will
To
take
explain my vote.
Madam Speaker.
Minority Whip.
Thank you. I've noticed, I was reading the bill and I was hoping to ask the question, but on page 9 of the bill, line, where are you? Here we go, 17 and 18. It says that notify the department and the local health department about the contamination, provide an approved potable water supply until the contamination is permanently remediated, and within 60 days of the date on which the owner knew of the contamination, resolve the contamination. Well, it may take more than 60 days to resolve the contamination. So, I think this bill just wasn't quite ready, and it would have been good to listen to the Department of the Environment and, give this over to a summer study. For those of us that have lots of wells in our district, our, people that we represent would have been quite unhappy had we not stood and made the arguments against this bill. And, when you go back up in the bill, further up, I'm glad to see that quite a bit of the bill was actually stricken. But further up in the bill, it talks about contaminants that we aren't even sure what they are.
The clerk will take the call.
Madam Speaker.
The clerk will take the call.
Madam Speaker.
89 in affirmative, the bill, HB 1069, passes. Quorum call before adjournment.
Madam Speaker.
All right. Also, don't want to forget about our colleagues in the annex. Would acknowledge the leader there, Speaker Pro Tem, Madam Speaker Pro Tem, and Trooper Chris Poole, and Jeremy over there as well. Okay. Clerk will take the call. 136 members present, House still in session. Recognizing the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to adjourn. Sine die.